So nice to have you here.
Lucas. We often don't get to sit. Exactly. We often don't get to sit together and chat a little bit, but we're gonna do some story times. A little bit, I think. We're gonna talk a little bit about it. So we get a lot of questions, I think, about the game that people seem to question or not understand, and so I got some of them here, and I wanted to ask you, what are some of the biggest challenges developing a board game?
Yeah, like 4 years ago, we thought it's like super easy to develop a game, right? And you know, we kind of like woke up to the fact that it's like a little bit more complex and work intensive than we thought. Primarily, you know, we had so many great ideas for so many different like mechanics, and my personal biggest challenge was make them interlocking in a good way, you know, that you have a good game flow that is solid and stable, where you don't have to like balance the shit out of everything, but like really have like these like solid core mechanics that just work together, right? Because that was our biggest challenge, to really make them link, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's simplifying, actually, because you know there's so many fun ideas, and you realize like, okay, actually, we can't have all these ideas in the game at the same time. It just becomes kind of too complex, and finding that balance between something that's complex and fun and interesting, and being too boring. And I think we found the right chord between the two, but that certainly took a long time. I myself was also challenged with not just the ideas of the board game, because that's the creative part, that's the fun part. Remember, we're talking about the different types of gears and weapon and how battle will play out and all these cool themes and bosses and stories, that kind of creative, imaginative side. But it's actually just starting the business, you know, getting all of the documents and the contracts set up, going out to fulfillment partners and talking to manufacturing partners, and the sampling process and the constant information flow and back and forth. So,
and everything like on an international base like takes months and months, right? To actually take form. Whether it's like, you know, filing the logo, or you know, getting the trademark.
Oh, wow.
I mean, or getting the first prototypes in, right?
Yeah, those were both big challenges. I mean, you think you just said, oh, here's our trademark information, we'll send it in. And we got quotes from lawyers and solicitors within Europe, UK and the US, and it cost us at least 4 times more than they had expected or budgeted. And that was because, you know, there's other companies in the world that basically saw our trademark application and said, nah, not really, we don't like that, or we have a problem with it. So a lot of energy and money was spent on it. What was the other thing? The prototyping.
Yeah, the prototyping was intense because we are aiming for a super high quality game. Like, Dark Omen is not your next tile placer, dungeon crawler. It's something different. The quality is different. The engineering behind this is on a complete different level.
Tell me about the engineering a little bit, because I think that's something that people tend not to see, and I think that's our challenge in communicating, really.
Absolutely.
What went into, or maybe you could talk about the steps of the board and the main engineering challenges.
So what we wanted to create is an ever-shifting or ever-shiftable maze system, basically. We wanted to be able to create a map that you can manipulate throughout the game to give you like different obstacles, and we wanted to have it as diverse as possible, right? And so the idea was pretty simple, and the proof of concept was done within 4 days, right? I designed that thing within 2 days. I sent it to the printer. On the next day after, I had basically the print sheets, right? I did a little bit of cutting with some like a hardware store acrylic glass
Thin
or whatever.
plastic. Was it acrylic or was it thin plastic?
It was just thin plastic.
You just had those
like
kind
sheets,
of like wobbly, just kind
wobbly
of
things.
there,
And I just drilled a hole in the middle as an axe, basically.
The axis,
to have this rotating around. And it actually worked, you know, just to show you guys basically, hey, this is like the idea. And then the engineering started, right?
Why was it so challenging, the engineering? So what were the kind of the main
It was
mechanical
one of
challenges?
your first questions, like, all right, Lukey, so would it be like that type of a box then, you know, where that the people have to like put behind their shelves or whatever? And I'm like, oh, good question. No. We are finding a way where we just can like disassemble it in a way that it fits into a more or less standard size, you know, board game box. I mean, what is a standard size board game box these days, right? But yeah, we actually managed to design the board in a way that it's completely packable into this box. Every single piece of our 4 interactive rotating layers can be divided into 4 bigger puzzle pieces.
And just put right in the box.
Exactly, that click into each other.
I remember the centerpiece was very important for us because you can imagine the challenge. Like, okay, we have the bottom board and we've built these kind of lands, these areas into it, and then we have this top board, right? And the top board and the base board don't move. And in between them are these rotating layers that are creating these different environments on the board. But we're like, okay, wait, but actually we need something to hold this all together, especially because these are all interchangeable pieces. So that's where the center board came, and I remember that was a big challenge in how we figured that out.
And then we figured it out, and then we designed the first or produced the first prototypes out of the legit material, right? Out of plexiglass and stuff like that, acrylic glass. And then we experienced
the catching.
Like, that was depressing. That was just so.
So what is the catching? It sounds like a thing.
Exactly. So when we started to rotate the boards, the sharp edges of the laser cutting, right? They just, even it was like 1/10 of a millimeter or something. They just catch. They picked each other's edges and were just stopping, and we couldn't like move them anymore. And this went on for quite some time, and you know, we talked to friends and we talked even to like engineering friends how we could fix that. And then a friend of mine in Switzerland gave me some hints of like mechanical engine, you know, engineering, and how he would do that. And so we changed the design of the die cut files a little bit, and that helped tremendously. So the catch was almost gone.
Right, exactly.
But then we experienced that the whole like moving part was not as smooth as we wanted it to be.
Talking about the friction then?
Exactly.
Right, so the bottom rotating layer was sitting on the baseboard, and it was just a bit difficult to move at times. I remember having to like kind of catch it with my fingers and to pull it a little bit. And so basically it just came down to the friction, probably static electricity too, because of the acrylic and the cardboard. But all right, so how do we handle that mechanical challenge then?
Basically little plastic bumpers that create a space of air of about like 1 millimeter underneath the bottom layer, basically. So the bottom rotating layer sits now on 36 like little stickers that you can like have to pop onto your baseboard before you play the game for the first time, and that made it very smooth.
So satisfying. Remember the first time we were like, oh,
that was so good.
Super smooth movement.
This whole process took us a year. Maybe longer even, right?
Well, we were still looking at different design options the whole time. Different centerboard design. We were really looking at different materials. We were really trying to find the best one. So that was a really satisfying.
Yeah.